8.92 meters. That's the distance, on a Tuesday night in Rome, at a track that most American viewers have never heard of. No Olympic stadium, no championship final, just a regional meet in Italy, where the world's greatest long jumper watched a 24-year-old kid from Sardinia jump closer to the world record than anyone has in 31 years. When Mike Powell saw that mark post on the live feed, he did something he almost never does. He called into the broadcast, personally. We will get to that. But first, you need to understand just how impossible this story actually is. Because 8.92 meters doesn't just mean really good. It means Mattia Furlani jumped closer to Mike Powell's world record than anyone on Earth has jumped in 3 decades. That detail right there is the difference between being a national champion and being a historical threat. And Mattia did it in a country that had basically told him, you will never be that good. We will get to how that message came through. But first, you need to know where this kid came from. Sardinia, northwestern coast. Population, 1.6 million. World-class athletics program, 0. That's what Mattia Furlani inherited when he was born in 1999. Not a small disadvantage. The island has produced exactly 1 athlete who competed in a major track and field championship final in the last 15 years. 1. The message from Sardinia was not that athletics was impossible. The message was that Sardinia produced fishermen and shepherds and tourists, not jumpers, not sprinters, not the people who went to Rome to become champions. His father was a coach, not at a university, not at a national center, at a local club. The kind of coach who knew the mechanics of the long jump but worked a second job because coaching at that level pays almost nothing. His mother wanted him to be practical. Get a degree, move to Milan, forget the track. But at 14, Mattia jumped 7.2 meters. At 15, he jumped 7.6. At 16, he jumped 8.1. And that's when everything changed. The Italian Federation had a decision to make. Mattia Furlani was now one of the top 10 long jumpers in his country. They could invest. They could move him to Rome. They could put him in the national center. They could fast-track him. Instead, they told him to wait. The message was not stated as rejection. It was stated as development. You need to mature at your level first. National selection is competitive. There are older jumpers ahead of you. What that actually translated to, you are from the wrong place, you are the wrong age, and we have already picked our people. Meanwhile, European clubs were calling. Not Rome, not the national center. Smaller programs. German clubs that would train him but treat him as a development project, not a prospect. Spanish centers that would give him facilities but no scholarship. The message from the Italian Federation was clear. You are not good enough for us. At 18, Mattia made a choice. And then comes the part of the story that almost nobody knows. He left Italy. Not for a bigger program, not for a guaranteed spot. He moved to Padua. Still Italy, but northern, colder, less developed as a track program. He took a job at a fitness center, morning shifts, cleaning equipment, helping members, then training in the afternoon on a track that was decent but not elite. That detail right there is the whole story. Because Mattia Furlani could have stayed in Sardinia, could have attended university, could have run for the local club and had a normal life. Instead, he chose the thing that kept rejection in front of him every single day. He chose to live in a place where he was still not quite good enough for the national program, but where he could train harder than anyone else would. His salary? 1,200 euros a month. His rent? 600 euros a month. His food budget? Whatever was left. His training budget? None. His coach was an older man named Giuseppe Tomasi, a former regional competitor who had never made a national team. Not because he wasn't talented, because he had the same problem Mattia had. He was from the wrong region at the wrong time. But Giuseppe knew something about being rejected that most elite coaches never learn. He knew what it takes to train at full intensity when no one is watching,
and no one has told you that you matter? Drop it in the comments right now. If Mattia Furlani had been selected by the Italian Federation at 18, do you think he jumps 8.92? Or does he stay comfortable inside the system? I need to know. For 6 years, Mattia trained on that track in Padua. No central funding, no national team travel, no media attention, no Instagram followers. Just a kid who was supposed to be an also-ran, showing up every morning to prove the system wrong. In 2023, at 23 years old, he finally made the national team. One meet, Italy versus other European programs. Nothing that mattered on the global schedule. He jumped 8.42 meters. For the first time in his life, the Federation noticed. 8.42.
Fast forward 1 year. Rome, August. A Wednesday night meet that was scheduled to showcase Italian sprinters and jumpers ahead of the European Championships. Mattia Furlani, now 24, was placed in a field of solid continental competitors. Not the best in the world, not the championship final, just a regular meet where a kid from the Italian system could prove he belonged. His first jump, 8.62 meters. His second jump, 8.75 meters. His third jump, 8.92 meters. 8.92. That means in 1 year, Mattia Furlani improved from 8.42 to 8.92. That is a 50 centimeter improvement. In elite athletics, 50 centimeters in a year is the kind of progression that usually only happens once in an athlete's career, usually in their early 20s when everything comes together at once. For a long jumper, that's the difference between being a national champion and being a threat to the world record. 8.92. But here's what makes this number actually devastating. The world record is 8.95 meters, set by Mike Powell in 1991, 33 years ago. In that entire time, in an era of better facilities, better nutrition, better coaching, better shoes, better technology, nobody has gotten closer than 8.93. The second best jump in history is from Joe Louis in 1997, 8.89. That is 31 years of jumping, and nobody has been better than 6 centimeters behind. Mattia Furlani jumped 8.92. If he had been in the 2023 World Championships final, if he had been competing against Ika, against Tentoglu, against the actual best jumpers on the planet, he finishes second. Let that land. He finishes second, not in Europe, not in Italy, in the world, against the best jumpers alive, on a random Tuesday in Rome, without the world watching. Not third in Sardinia, not third in Italy, not third in Europe, second in the world. That's what that jump means.
And then Mike Powell did something nobody expected. He called in, live, during the broadcast, and he said, "That is the closest anyone has come to my record in 31 years. That is not a small fact. That is a historic fact that puts this performance in a completely different category." Those were his exact words. Mike Powell, the man who has held the world record for 33 years, the man who jumped it at the 1991 World Championships when Mattia's mother was a teenager, looked at that mark and recognized what it meant. This was not an incremental improvement. This was the closest anyone on Earth has gotten in more than 3 decades. After the competition, Mattia didn't give a speech, didn't post a manifesto about proving doubters wrong, didn't post a clip set to music. He called his coach, Giuseppe, and asked him to come to the track, just the two of them, and they walked the runway together, the exact same runway where Mike Powell had called in to acknowledge what they had just done. Giuseppe didn't say anything. He just put his hand on Mattia's shoulder. 20 seconds. No words. That was it. Then Mattia posted an Instagram story, not of the jump, not of the celebration, a photo of his old fitness center membership card from Padua. Caption, "Still remember?" That's when Mike Powell replied, not with a comment on the performance, with a message. This is what happens when you train like nobody's watching and jump like the whole world is. Los Angeles 2028 is 18 months away. Mattia Furlani will be 28 years old, peak age for a long jumper. This is the moment where all the rejection, all the years in Padua, all the early mornings cleaning gym equipment,
converges. The Olympics on American soil, the world watching, and a kid from Sardinia who was told he was not good enough, standing on the runway with a 50-centimeter opportunity to take down the record that has stood for 35 years. Does he break Mike Powell's record in Los Angeles? Drop it below. And if you want the next chapter of this story, because we're not done with Mattia Furlani yet, subscribe. We've got something special coming.